Legendary Beast Studios, or LBS, and XM Studio, which I don't know what XM stands for, have done it again with another 1/3 scale Marvel statue. This time we have Magneto. And my God, this brings back stories of me in the high school locker room. I was really intimidated. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme channel. We have an extremely extreme collectible in front of us. It is a Magneto statue. As I said in the intro, this is a collaboration from XM Studios and LBS. And this is 1/3 scale, meaning Magneto would be 3 times larger in real life. Now, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I've had the first 2 releases on this table. First is Captain America, which was an amazing piece. This Thor right here, which is also an amazing piece. And this Magneto is the 3rd release. Now, they have quite a few other ones coming. The only one I'm semi-interested in is their Hulk that they recently revealed. But I'm probably not going to go with that statue. In fact, I was thinking of not even keeping this guy because I've kind of moved my collection in a different direction. However, now that I have him in hand, don't know if I can bear to part with this guy because he is absolutely amazing. He's better than the Thor, he's better than the Captain America, and they were absolutely fabulous. And to be honest with you, it almost has me thinking, should I get the Hulk? So, as you can see, this is actually based off of a Jim Lee cover. Xmen #1, not the actual #1, but a rehash #1. You can see it here. The exact same pose. They have a number of switch outs so you can vary it up a little bit, and we're going to talk all about that in the Extreme review today. And let's just kick it off because there's so much to cover with concept. Now, there's 2 different versions of this statue. This is the Super Bonus Deluxe that has everything. So while we will highlight the differences between the 2, for the most part, this review is going to be about this one. And when I say there's differences, this just has additional display options. Now, the base he's on is actually a crushed satellite, which obviously he's not in space. He's still, despite the fact he's a mutant, he still has regular human needs like air. So we're going to assume that he crashed this satellite. He brought it down with his magnetic power. It's totally crushed, totally destroyed. Maybe they were using it to track mutants. And in this particular, the Deluxe model, they have the magnetic field around him, which does a number of things. It can actually be a shield for him. It can help him levitate. It helps him pick up metal-related items. Besides the totally destroyed and crushed satellite, what they've done on the top is he is standing on it. They're kind of trying to give the floating effect, but I don't think they pulled it off. I think other Magneto statues have pulled it off much better. But following the cover here, in his right hand, he's making more of that magnetic field, and that is a display option we're going to look at. And as you move up, in his classic Magneto red and purple uniform, he's using his left hand to maybe levitate something else. And he is angered with his teeth baring. He's in the middle of battle. It's kind of a classic Magneto expression in many Magneto statues. And there's some different display options we're going to look at. But the concept is awesome. Now, what I think they did was different was, first of all, I like the fact that they varied it up on the base. It's a satellite. I never would have thought to use that. But it kind of shows the limits or the no limits of his power. He could reach up into space. I like the fact it's based off a cover. Aura/magnetic field effect is unbelievable. That's huge props to them. So when we're talking about the Deluxe, I think the concept is a solid 4 out of 5. Arguably could be a 5 out of 5 as well. Design, definitely some issues with this, but it's super elaborate. I give them a ton of points for going balls to the wall. But before we do that, let's look at the unboxing and assembly. And as a heads up, it's kind of complicated. There's no instructions anywhere, not even online that I could find at least. 2 pieces. My wife and I spent about an hour looking through the base. We could not find where they went. And even without these pieces, it wasn't the easiest to assemble. 2 gigantic boxes. They had the standard boxing you traditionally see with XM Studios, the cover that's impossible to get off. So here's the first box, first layer, everything wrapped really well, the aura effects. Thankfully, I had 0 damages at all. Everything was the traditional white foam with the custom straps. And here you see the other box has 2 layers. First layer, a ton of different pieces. This actually took a while to put together, and you'll see why. Look at all these different pieces that actually go on the base. Here's the second layer of the second box.
Previously on Xmen.
All right, so first thing, let's measure him. And I'm going to measure him with the aura here. Now the widest point, keep in mind this is a 1/3 scale statue, 3 times smaller than a real life version, is probably close to 33 inches. The tallest part is also a little over 33 inches, probably 33 and a half. For exact dimensions, go to Cosmic Chase Collectibles website. That's where I get the majority of my XM statues. I'm going to talk more about them later. The deepest part, if you take the aura, it's probably about 20 inches or so. Now, if you remove the aura, because that is an option, the widest point becomes about 20 inches or so. Now, there's so many different display options, and that's the difference between the regular version and the exclusive. So let's look at those. So the regular edition has 3 portraits. First is an unmasked, I guess unhelmeted is the right word, Jim Lee style. Then one with his helmet on, closed mouth. Next one, gritted teeth, so this matches the cover. And it doesn't come with the aura effect, so this is what it looks like. And it still looks pretty cool in my opinion. So the bonus edition, or deluxe, it's actually called the Premiere. I keep calling it something else. The Premiere has the aura effect. You can see right here. And then it has the Screaming helmet. Now, while I like the Screaming helmet the best, I'm not going to display it because I actually have that in a lot of other Magneto statues. There are some other display options that come with both versions. So first, his left hand can be turned up, like to the left, and this matches the cover. And even though it matches the cover, I like the other one better, where it's turned down and he's kind of using his force. And he's using his power. His right hand just holding down to his side. This one's going to go back in the box, because the other one, as we talked about in concept, is actually making a magnetic field, and I think that's pretty cool. So the issues with this statue. First, they need some type of instructions. They did give this book right here, and it has some interesting stuff about the statue in general, and it shows the different poses. It even shows the different parts, but it doesn't show where they go, so I think that's a huge miss. So the fact that you can't even assemble it correctly, I think that that is just a big negative when you're spending this much money on a statue. The displayability of this is incredibly difficult. Probably one of my widest statues out there. So for those reasons, I don't even know if I can keep this. I really want to though, because I think it's absolutely amazing. I love the different switch out options, and I give them a lot of points for how elaborate the design is. So I think the design's a 4 out of 5. If they would have a better way to assemble it, I think it would be a 5 out of 5, despite the fact that it's almost too big to display. Paint and sculpt, XM Studios is usually pretty solid. All these 1/3 pieces have been absolutely amazing, especially on the sculpt. This is no exception. So really quick, I want to highlight the portraits. So the gloss on the helmet, it doesn't look good by itself, but it looks good when it contrasts with the rest of the statue, so I agree with their decision on there. The eyes are painted white. It doesn't look the best. They could be decals, but it's kind of like almost like a whiteout. So I think that could have been better. The skin tone is also pretty dark. You know, on the cover, it's a little bit of both because there's some shadowing. So I think they went a little bit dark, but the sculpt itself looks fantastic. Spot on with the Jim Lee. You know, you couldn't see that because it was too blurry, but teeth, I like the fact they're not too white, but it looks great. A little glistening effect on the tongue and the gums, so I think that's smart. You see a little bit of hair on the back here, and the hair is done really well. We'll see that on the unmasked portrait. So the one with the lips pursed together, almost everything's the same, except it doesn't have the whited out eyes, and these are definitely decals, which is fine, but gives it a little bit of a plastic effect. He almost has like a 5 o'clock shadow starting too. But even like the striations right there. So some really cool little detail. His eyebrows are pretty bushy, but that's typical Magneto. And then the unmasked portrait, which essentially is the same sculpt we just looked at, but you get to see the cheekbones and the ears. And I really like the red, almost like a blush effect they added to the skin tones on this. And I don't know if they added it on these particular portraits, and we just can't see them. Hair looks fantastic though. I love how it's bunched up, yet you can see the strands and the flow of it. And then the darker grays in with the silver. I think they did a really, really nice job with that. So I actually apologize. I moved the rest of the Magneto statue before I filmed the review. He's in a temporary spot for a few weeks here, just on the ground with some other Magneto statues. But let's dive in, starting with the aura effect. So I almost feel like it should have been more of a translucent, but that might have made it a difficult material with resin for breakages. But they did add some purple and blue highlights, which I think look really good. And the sculpt of it, I think the shape is nice where there's gaps in the middle, so that's cool. Satellite looks absolutely fabulous. I love the gold and brown, how it highlights off the silver colors, and it's just completely destroyed. It looks like he's ripped it apart. They did a really, really amazing job really going through all the different details in here. I wonder if they actually studied a satellite. The boosters on the bottom here. Very impressive on both the front and back, and I apologize, it's difficult for me to get to the back, but it's a lot of the same, but they didn't spare any expense at the details. Regarding mags, so two issues I have. One is the dark shading, which we see in every Magneto statue. I can get over that, but you see a lot of dark shading in between the red where the folds and the muscles are, and for some reason Magneto is always over anatomicized, if that's even a word, but look at his ripped biceps. And not only that, but you can always see like veins through the suit. It's kind of a common thing, and then his chest area, his abdominals and chest, especially at the weird angle he's at, just look really strange. However, this is pretty typical with Magneto. You see it on almost every single statue. But I like the shading of red. The paint is incredibly clean, from the more of a metallic purple on his belt, gauntlets, and cape up here, to the traditional purple on his normal cape, as well as his outside underwear. And I know a lot of people aren't a fan of this. However, I do understand that this is how he was drawn. And then it has the texturized pattern right here on the sides. I love the folds though. It really follows the flow of the body. So whoever sculpted him, I can't remember, really understands human anatomy. Just the way that the muscles change when it moves. Again, I love that sharp metallic. It really helps contrast the other purple and blues. I think they did a great job. Here's his glove here. And I do like this, the magnetic force he's creating over here. A lot of the same comments on the portrait from above. So again, I apologize, not the best close-up video of him here. He's just in a temporary spot for a few weeks until figure out where to put him. Very, very cool. Well done on the paint and sculpt. So with paint, like we talked about, they always do too much shading on Magneto. That's always a negative for me, but I can get past that on this. I think there's still enough vibrant colors. I like how they mixed up the color of the satellite. The aura doesn't look good by itself like we talked about, but together I think it looks awesome. So I'm going to give the paint a very strong 4 out of 5. I could argue it's a 5 out of 5. So with sculpt, again, really the only big issue I have is the anatomy in the chest area, but it's so common. It's in almost every single Magneto statue because he was kind of drawn that way sometimes. So I'll give him a pass on that. I think the sculpt is a 5 out of 5. It's done very well, pretty incredible. So before we get started, huge shout out to Cosmic Chase Collectibles. That's where I said I get the majority of my XM. And they're based in Singapore, but they operate internationally. So it knows that I'm in the US instantly when you go to their website. You can sign up for their newsletter. I'm already signed up. But you can see how many powerhouse YouTube channels support them here. That's when you first log in. But they have everything from Prime 1 Studios, XM Studios, Queen Studios, lots of studios. And different ones that are in stock and different ones that are upcoming. They usually go up for PO the same day the manufacturer does. So, for example, if Prime 1 puts it up for PO, it'll be up here that same day, maybe a day later. But I have a link in the description below, cosmicchase.com. It's not an affiliate link. Go ahead and check them out because their shipping is some of the fastest out there, and they are just absolutely fantastic customer service. And as you can see, so many different options to choose from. Really, really impressive site. I'm a big fan. Now, they made 2 different versions. I don't know the edition size because the website differs from the base, but they made 600 of these, and they claimed that they were going to make 700 or 699 of the regular. But since this is different than the website, I would speculate that's different as well. So they made somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 of these total. Like I said, these I know they made 600 of. Retailed right around for 1,500 USD, give or take. The regular edition was a few $100s cheaper. Shipping is a lot though. You're looking at $500-600 shipping if it's express shipping by DHL. So you're over $2,000 into this. I don't have a problem with that price point at all, simply for the fact Prime 1 Studio 1/3 scale statues are around that price point. Look at everything you get for this. Tons of switch out options. Paint and sculpt is done very well. And I really might find out how good the value is, because if I try and sell it, I'll sell it around retail. So I'll see how quickly it sells. But I think the value is a solid 3 out of 5. You could easily get your money back. I don't think it's more than that, because a lot of people are going to have a hard time displaying such a big statue. And it's almost not a standalone piece unless you have just all Magneto statues. But it's definitely the best in the line so far, which is kind of an obvious precursor to, does this have the X factor? That's not the cumulative score, but is this a 5 out of 5 statue? Is it absolutely amazing? Yes, it is. This just kind of takes your breath away. I love the aura effect. Like I said, really hasn't been done to this extent in a licensed statue. I love the fact that it's based off the cover. I really was going to sell this, but after I unboxed it, I'm not so sure anymore. I just need to see if I can display it somewhere. But if they keep getting better and better at these 1/3 scale Marvel pieces, I think everyone's wallet is in trouble for the future releases for sure. What do you think? Of the 3 that have been released, what's your favorite? Throw that down in the comments. I read every single comment, and you could win a statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones, at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Guys, thanks for checking this out with me. I'm a big fan. If you want to buy this from me with pretty much where I don't lose any money, email me at mrx@theextremechannel.com. If you don't, just give me a thumbs up. It's free, easy, and it really helps the channel. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys soon. Check out some of these other videos. Take care.